Hey YouTube, it's Will from Will Development. It's my 372nd weekly update. Now, the yearly update is coming soon. The footage and the breakdown from the Scorcher is also coming soon. I am super excited to finally announce because it is finally, the work part of it anyway, is finally over. I am the official stonemaker for the official Strongman games, known as OSG. And for those who aren't familiar with what OSG actually is, OSG is the World Games for basically everybody except like the super top heavyweight guys. So generally speaking, guys like Brian Shaw won't compete there. And a lot of the pros in that sort of realm won't compete there, but this is the World Games for the Masters, the men's Masters over 50, the 231 guys, you know, the 175 guys, the 200, all the women, including Masters women and all the different weight classes that encompass the women's, which, truth be told, I have not memorized the women's weight classes because honestly they seem to change a bit. And they're very different per federation. Men's, usually pretty easy to break down. Usually it's 175, 181, 198, call it 200, and then 231 or 220 for the two different main federations in the States anyway. That's usually the breakdown there. And then everybody over that. So it was super exciting when I got this opportunity several months ago now. And the stones were just picked up on Wednesday, I believe. And they're there. They're in the arena, just in the back, hanging out, because they're not needed till Sunday. So far the reception, everybody seems to love them, which I'm very happy about. And most notably, Steve Slater himself talked my ear off for a good 40 minutes. And we had a really good conversation, which we've spoken before. We've met at Worlds a couple years back when it was here in Bradenton. And we chatted about stones and all that stuff. And, you know, I did my best not to fangirl out too hard. But he absolutely loved them. He was blown away. And the thing I appreciated about his opinion is not just that in the world of stonemakers, honestly, there's like professional stonemakers, there's probably less than 20 of us in the whole world that are like truly professional at what we do. You know what I mean? There's probably, that's probably too low of a number. There's definitely less than 50. I know that for sure. Because I was just thinking I follow about 15 guys. So yeah, it's like there's definitely less than 50 of us in the whole world that do this. And of all the people that I know of, and I know quite a few, I respect the hell out of his opinion. He is the best, you know, just period. I still learn stuff from him every time he posts a video. And what makes his opinion carry so much more weight, not just because of who he is, but the fact that he knows what goes into making these stones. He knows the kind of effort and care that needs to be taken, especially to get the particular look that we went with for this show. And there were things that we were discussing, you know, he was telling me about and I was telling him about. You know, it's that thing where you work hard enough and then eventually when you stick to something long enough, your idols become your peers, you know what I mean? And I do definitely still look up to Steve Slater to this day, but the fact that he asked me for my number because he wanted to ask me some questions and see if I could help him out with some problems he had with some of the stones. I mean, it blows my mind. It's very imposter syndrome feeling where I'm just like, why is Steve Slater asking me questions? But the reality is I've been doing this for 7 years. I've been making stones for 7 years. I've made a lot of mistakes. Hell, I made mistakes on this pour itself. And I've learned a lot over the years, and I've experimented with different things over the years in terms of stones. And the reality is I've earned it. I've earned this opportunity and I've earned this praise that I'm getting right now. And sometimes it's hard for me to accept that because I still feel like, I'm my harshest critic, and I just look at my work and I'm like, oh, that's garbage. I could have done better. But what I always tell people is the last stone I made is the best stone I've ever made. And I want to get that like framed, put on a plaque, because I will always say that. The last stone I made is the best stone I ever made, but it's not as good as the next one I make. Because that's what I'm always about. I'm about constantly improving and trying to provide the best service that I can, especially locally, just because I'm in the local scene and, I'm in the Florida strongman scene. I've been in the scene, I've been in strongman for 7 years. I've been making stones for almost 6. Actually, it'll be 8 this year. I've been in the strongman community here in Florida. And so it means a lot to me that a quality Atlas stone is available to people to get, which is honestly part of the reason why when I see kind of subpar or substandard stones, I take it personally, even when it's not mine, especially when it's not mine, because it's just like, if it was the money you went with this person for, just tell me. Like, if it's the price and you want to haggle, talk to me. I would rather you get a better product and me possibly lose a little bit of profits than you go with a subpar product and God forbid you get a new person in there and they get turned off completely because the stone was terrible. For whatever reason that is, whether it was crumbly or it was cutting their arms, that sort of thing. These are the things that I think about, and when I think about the future of the sport, that's the kind of impact I want to leave. I want to leave where, the harsh reality is I will probably never be an amazing athlete. So I will probably not be known as a great athlete in the sport. But if I can leave an impact where people said, hey, you know what? He provided great equipment for years to the community. And he was always there to volunteer, always trying to help out in any way he could, then I can live with that. I really can. And so that's kind of where I am right now with all that. But I'm still beaming from just being praised by Steve Slater for just any length of time and just having a good relationship with him. It means a lot to me. He was the first teacher for many stonemakers, and arguably it still is the best. Like I said, I watch a video, he'll post up a video once every 6 months, and it's like, oh, I just learned something just by watching him, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a great feeling. Now, all that being said, that is why my training this week has been very up and down. Monday and Tuesday night, I actually left work early Monday and Tuesday to finish up the stones. And my plan, and this is my fault, I didn't communicate well enough that I had the intention to have the stones all done by Wednesday because they were getting picked up on Thursday. So I was like, oh, I've got till Wednesday to finish them, so I'll finish them on Wednesday, or I'll just finish a few here, finish a few there. I didn't communicate that well enough with the promoter, and so he kind of like on Sunday was sort of like, hey, how are those doing? And I was like, you know what, I'll have them done by Tuesday, just because. And I did. I got them done by Tuesday, but I had to skip the gym, and then Wednesday was, I got home, I bagged all the stones, and I was just like, man, I'm done. My body's shot. I got nothing left, So I just took the night off on Wednesday too. Went in yesterday, knowing that tonight I would not be able to, but I went in yesterday, Thursday, and I did my deadlift and my strict press day. Got a new PR on strict press for 190. And honestly, if I had been feeling better, this is not a good week for me, but if I had been feeling better, I feel like I probably could have done 195 because the 190 didn't feel heavy in my hands. And I got stuck right about here and then was able to finish the lockout. So I feel like I had more. The same thing on the deadlift. It was a recent PR of 465. But even when I did it, I was like, man, I know if I was fresher and my hamstrings weren't killing me from being bent over working on these stones for so long, I probably could have pulled like somewhere in the 470, maybe even 475 range. But it's like, man, my body was just done. And I knew it was done because I could barely double overhand 405 for one. So I'm like, yeah, my grip's not there. Grip is usually a really good indicator for how well you're recovered. So knowing I wouldn't be able to come in today, I just did that. That's all the training I did this week. Probably going to go in Sunday morning before the show. Just head to the gym real early in the morning and crank out my push press workout. And then possibly squat. We'll see. We'll see how my body feels. Had a massive cramp in my right lower back all day today. Although standing around and walking and standing, it actually kind of loosened it up a little bit because it tightened it up in other places. So anyway, super ecstatic. I mean, having a, official Strongman Games, lanyard with sponsor on it, a lot of the people there don't know me because it's the World Games. There's people from all over the world. A lot of the people there don't know me. A lot of people do. There's quite a few local people there, and they know me. And I know the people that don't know me are seeing my work for the first time, not realizing that this is 7 long years of working to get to this point of earning this opportunity to provide for such a large and important competition. But that's the lesson right there. Is I never started this thinking, yeah, one day my stones will be on a world stage. I never crossed my mind. I started this using a principle from Henry Ford that I actually really liked, which was starting from a place of service. And to make the quote a little shorter, it was basically, if you start from a place of service, or a business that starts with the customer in mind, will only have one worry about their profits. They're going to be embarrassingly high. And that's how I've always run Will Development, where it's about people first, it's about service first. I don't care if I take a loss in a certain spot if I'm making somebody happy. There is a limit, of course, and right is right, but I've always started with, let's make the best possible product. Let's put a lifetime guarantee on it. If there's any problems, I will make it right to the best of my ability. You know what I mean? And that's the lesson, after 7 years of working in this way and then sponsoring shows and expanding the brand as much as I could. Now the world gets to see my work. And that, for just some kid from Central Florida, it's amazing. I have no words, honestly. It's incredible. So the lesson is, just do the thing. Stick with it. And I can't promise it'll always end in something so amazing, but every once in a while it does. And I want every single person to experience this feeling that I have. Because it's just, I do not know enough words to describe this feeling of pride. And I mean, pride is the best word, honestly. It's just, I'm very proud to be a part of it, and I'm humbled at the opportunity. So yeah, spend 7 years working at something, and then eventually the world will recognize you. And if you don't put in that work, then what's your excuse?